guys, this is Miss Cindy from the Crown Point Community Library, and I'm going to bring the library into your home with some simple science. Today we are going to be making paper helicopters. This is a really easy science activity that you can do at home. I chose this because since you're home you might not have a lot of supplies, so all you really need for this is a piece of paper. I have red, but you can choose a colored paper. It can just be a piece of white copy paper or even a piece of notebook paper. Whatever type of paper you have around your house, you're going to need one sheet of paper. You will need a pair of scissors. A ruler is helpful, but you don't have to have a ruler, so don't worry if you can't find one. And then a paper clip. Again, any size paper clip will work. And possibly some Scotch tape. This makes it a little bit easier. So what we're going to do, we're going to be talking about helicopters. And for a helicopter to fly, it has to have some type of force. So first of all, a helicopter flies by taking off and the thrust that pushes it up into the air. In order to overcome the gravity. You guys remember what gravity is? Gravity is that invisible force that tries to keep everything down on the earth. It keeps us from floating off into space, because that just wouldn't be good. So a helicopter has to overcome that force and get up into the air. Our force that we're going to use is going to be our arms. We're going to throw our helicopter, and that will be our force. But we also need to think, we don't want our helicopter just crashing right down back down to the ground, that something needs to keep that helicopter up. So we have something that's called drag, and drag is a force that's something that slows that force, that slows it down. Think about if you've ever walked through water. If you've ever been in a pool and you've tried to walk through water, a lot of times it's hard, it slows you down. You can't move as fast as if you're just running in open air. So that's called drag. So we want our helicopter to have some type of drag, and that's the little propellers that are at the top. That's what's going to kind of hold it up in space for a little while. I want you to think about, this might look familiar, coming into springtime, you're going to see maple trees. They're going to have these little things that fall off of them, the little seed pods, and they kind of look like this. They fall from the tree. Those little pieces that come out from the side of the seed pod are what creates the drag. It causes that maple seed to float on the air and blow further from the tree. And that's kind of the science that we're going to be using today. So this is what you need. You're going to need your piece of paper. The first thing that you're going to do, you're going to take your sheet of paper. You want to cut a strip. I used my ruler to measure out how wide I want my strip to be. And you can either mark it or you can fold it, but you're just going to create a strip about as wide as your ruler, and then just cut that piece out. All right, so this is going to be our helicopter. What we're going to do is we're going to take this piece of paper down, we're going to fold it into 3 equal pieces. And the easy way to do that is just to kind of fold it into thirds. So I just folded it into 3 pieces. So I have 1, 2, and 3. The bottom 2 are going to be the bottom part of our helicopter that we're going to hold on to, and the top is where we're going to create our propellers. So I've already showed you on one piece here. So on this one, you'll see how I marked it off. We're going to cut a strip in the middle of this top piece, and then we're going to cut to the side. So let me show you what that looks like. And you can mark that off if you want to, if that's easier to have it marked so that you can see where you're going to cut, or you can just cut it. So I'm going to take my piece of paper, going down to the very first crease. I don't want to cut all the way to that crease. I want to stop probably maybe about a 1/2 inch before I get to that crease. And then along the crease, I'm going to cut in just a small cut going in, just like that. And you can see that again on this piece that I have here where I marked it with a Sharpie. I just cut on those black lines. These become my propellers, and you notice I can bend them down. Each one needs to go in opposite direction so that when I pull them back up, I now have 2 propellers for my helicopter. The small little slits along the back, what we're going to do with that is we're going to fold the bottom two pieces in towards there, just like that. So now see how I have a little stick and my helicopter. So this is what my helicopter is going to look like. Now, here you have a couple options. So we need to have some type of weight because we need something that's going to bring our helicopter down to the ground. We do want it to land, but we don't want it to land too quickly. You have a couple options. You can fold this up in half and then secure it with a paper clip. The paper clip will add some extra weight to it. You could also use some tape. On this one, I left it long and just curled the bottom just to kind of create a weight at the bottom. But you can kind of play around with that and see how it works. So once you get it, this is all you have to do. What you're going to do next is you can either throw it up into the air and watch it come back down, or you can stand up someplace high. If you have a loft in your house or a balcony, you can stand there and just safely drop it off the side and watch it fall to the ground. Your propellers at the top should drag in the wind and create that spinning motion that's going to make it look like a helicopter as it lands. All right, so a couple ideas for you. As with any science project, there's always lots of variables, and variables are those things that change an experiment and can either add to it or maybe make it not work so well. So what are some things that you could do with this simple helicopter and change some of those variables and see what happens? So I want to challenge you, once you've made your helicopter, try it out, test it, see how it works, and then try changing some of the variables. Change the height at which you drop it or the speed at which you throw it up in the air. What if you used heavy paper, like construction paper or cardstock, rather than just notebook paper? What if you made it smaller? What if you used an index card and just had a really small helicopter? Would it still work the same? What if you added extra weight, a couple paper clips or a bigger paper clip? What if you didn't have any paper clip at all? What if you had a fan that you had on the ground blowing upwards that was going to create an extra force to give push to your helicopter? What would happen then? So I challenge you, see what you can do, see what you can make, see what you can come up with, and have fun. And then take them outside on a windy day. Maybe toss them off of, if you have a swing set, you could throw them up in the air. See what happens. See what you can do. If you want some more resources, you can check out our library website at crownpointlibrary.org. And I thank you for joining me. Take care.